Hey guys, welcome to the Libero Network. My name is Robin Baker, and today we're going to be talking about triggers, and more specifically, triggers when you are going to the gym, to a studio, to a fitness studio, to a yoga studio, to a Pilates studio, to any type of workout facility, and how to handle those triggers and how to deal with them. So, first off, what is a trigger? What does that mean? Does it mean that, we completely go into relapse from this thing that happens to us? Do we just have thoughts about going and doing our behaviors that are harmful to us? So, I think defining what a trigger is really important here. I'm just going to say for the case of this video, a trigger is going to be something that either makes you having a negative thought, or you have this visceral reaction to it that is in alignment with your eating disorder voice, your ed voice, or that possibly makes you do eating disorder behaviors. So it might not be that you go into a full relapse when you get triggered, but you might have those same ed voices kind of creep in when you are triggered. So many of us, including myself, being in eating disorder recovery probably means we had some type of strange relationship, harmful relationship with exercise, and just like eating, exercise is really important for our health and well-being. I mean, eating, we have to do that to actually survive. Exercise, it's not that we have to do it, but it does help for many, many other health aspects. And it's really important that we cultivate a healthy relationship with exercise because it is enjoyable, because moving your body is fun, and it should be. And we shouldn't avoid it in our recovery because we're scared to get triggered. So the first thing in the gym that is probably going to be the most triggering for anyone in eating disorder recovery is that there probably is going to be a scale of some sort. Such a lovely piece of equipment, isn't it? So when we typically see the scale in a gym or fitness facility, it's typically in the locker room where you're changing. So you're already kind of in a vulnerable state because, you're either changing your clothes or it's more in a private area. So the scale was always kind of like my biggest trigger when I was in eating disorder recovery and I was starting to go back into working out regularly. And, unfortunately, the scale was just right there staring me in the face. So what do you do? Initially, I actually would weigh myself and it was really bad, and I would use that, and then it was the only place where I would weigh myself, and it became this thing, and it was very, very, it didn't really make me go into a relapse, but it was an eating disorder behavior. Weighing myself and attaching a value to that and attaching my worth to that is definitely part of my eating disorder and my eating disorder behavior. So how did I conquer this? Well, I became very mindful of what I was doing. First and foremost, I would notice that I would see the scale, that I would want to weigh myself, and then I would, instead of just automatically doing the action or listening to that ed voice that you need to weigh yourself to make sure you're okay, I would ask myself, why do I need that to make sure I'm okay? I'm here, gravity is holding me down, which the scale will tell me. I already know I'm stuck to the earth. I don't need this scale in my life right now. That is not going to do anything but make my life worse and make me miserable. And it's also going to empower my eating disorder voice when I do not want to empower that. What do I really want? Do I want this? No, I do not. So I think the first thing in any situation of being triggered is really being mindful of why are you choosing this action or this thought? because yes, you can choose your thoughts, and yes, you can choose your actions. So being aware of why you're choosing that is really the first step. So after I became aware of my thoughts, especially in relationship to the scale in the locker room, I then began to have, I kind of almost call it like my ex-boyfriend relationship. I would walk by it and just be like, I don't need you, and walk on my merry way. And it's kind of like treating it like an ex-boyfriend that you really don't want to see. And you're like, you're a piece of crap. I don't want to look at you. I don't want to talk to you. And just move on. So another area that in the gym or the fitness facility that can get very triggering, and I'm specifically talking about a gym environment, is when you get on the cardio equipment. I say that because I think many of us in recovery and had exercise somewhere tied in with our eating disorder, cardio is like really, really, really triggering in the first place, just the word. Because primarily in my eating disorder, that was like all I did. And I was super obsessed with it. It was my way of purging. So developing a really, really good relationship with it and a positive relationship with it took a long time. If you're in the gym and you decide to hop on a piece of cardio equipment, those numbers can be super, super duper triggering, right? So I suggest, and I do this every single time I'm on there, even now, I cover the numbers up with a book or with a towel. I do not look at those numbers, and I keep them out of my line of vision. So yeah, if you happen to catch a glimpse of these numbers and those thoughts start to coming in, oh my God, I'm not burning enough, or oh my God, I'm not this enough, I'm not this enough, I'm so low, I'm so whatever, these numbers aren't the right numbers I should be at right now. Ask yourself, how is this helping you in your recovery? That is like the best question you can always ask yourself when you feel you're being triggered. The last thing I want to talk about with triggers as far as gym environments go or fitness environments go is the body shaming talk, the fat talk, or the anything that just might be triggering about body parts or anything like that, specifically by an instructor. There are so many instructors that do that. I see it all the time. And yeah, it can be really triggering because you think, okay, well, she thinks she's fat. She must think I'm fat. And oh my God, I am fat. Oh no. And so your ed voice can really be turned on, boom, like that when you're in a class with the instructor that not only body shames, she fat shames, she puts other people down that might not even be in the class, or like teases body parts, like calls arm bingo arms, or talks about thunder thighs, or uses any type of triggering word to describe a body or body part. So how do we navigate this trigger? So first off, practicing, again, being mindful. We've already talked about that, but practicing being non-reactive. So because if you want to stay through the whole class, which you might need to get up and leave. I've actually done that a couple times. But if you want to stay through the whole class because you're enjoying yourself, then you need to actually kind of like put that little message aside for a very short time and then revisit it once the class is over in a healthy, productive way. So typically that looks like, for me, kind of asking myself, well, why did that bother me? You know, what could I do to make this better? You know, what am I not going to do? What am I not going to react to? So that's it. I hope this was helpful for you. I didn't make this quite as structured as my past videos, specifically because what we get triggered from is so personal and it's so unique to everyone's recovery. So it's hard to put a finger on like what's going to actually trigger you in a gym or a fitness environment. But those were some of mine that really would get to me when I was newer in recovery and still get to me to this day. So I encourage you to use your voice when you do get triggered, not only by asking for help from people and speaking up for how you're feeling, but to also speak to those that might be the people that are triggering you and letting them know how it's affecting you, how it's harming you, and what you hope to see from them in the future. Use your voice, be strong, and I will catch you next time. Bye.